Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing something is seriously wrong. Your body is burning with fever, your stomach hurts, you can barely stand. And then you remember something important. There is no doctor, no hospital, no pharmacy, no antibiotics, no thermometer telling you whether your fever is dangerous, and no ambulance coming if you suddenly stop breathing. Now imagine this isn't happening in 2026. Imagine it's happening 50,000 years ago. You're inside a small shelter with the rest of your group. Outside, it's cold. There are predators somewhere in the darkness, and the people around you have no idea what is causing your illness. So what happens next? Did ancient humans simply get sick and die? Or did they actually know how to take care of the sick? The answer is much more complicated than you think. The first problem wasn't medicine. When we imagine prehistoric humans, we usually imagine hunters, people carrying spears, tracking animals, making fires, running across enormous landscapes. But there was another problem they had to solve. What do you do when one of your own can't keep up? Because sickness changes everything. A healthy hunter can walk for hours. A sick person can't. A healthy person can search for water. A person with a severe fever may barely be able to stand. A healthy adult can carry food. A severely injured person may need someone else to carry them. And that creates a dangerous question. If survival depends on everyone contributing, why would a group spend valuable food and time caring for someone who can't contribute? The answer may be hidden in the fossil record. And one of the strangest examples comes from a place called Dmanisi in what is now Georgia. About 1.77 million years ago, an elderly member of an early Homo population had lost most of his teeth. His jaw had deteriorated so badly that he would have had enormous difficulty chewing normally. Yet he survived long enough for the bone changes to develop. Calm Authority, the Smithsonian's Human Origins program, describes this individual as some of the earliest evidence for group care and compassion in the human fossil record. Think about what that means. This wasn't a modern hospital. There were no soft foods prepared by a nurse, no dentist, no painkillers. But somehow, this person survived after losing the ability to eat normally. Quiet, emotional. Someone, somewhere, had to accommodate him. And that suggests something important. Human survival may have depended on caring for people who couldn't care for themselves.
But sickness was different from a broken bone. A broken bone leaves evidence. A healed fracture can remain visible for thousands of years. An infection usually doesn't. A fever disappears. Diarrhea leaves almost nothing behind. A respiratory infection may leave no obvious mark on a skeleton. So, when archaeologists try to understand prehistoric sickness, they're often working with fragments, bones, teeth, ancient DNA, dental plaque. And sometimes those tiny clues reveal something extraordinary. Scientists can actually recover traces of ancient microbes from human remains. Tuberculosis, for example, has been identified in ancient skeletal material using characteristic bone changes and, in some cases, ancient DNA.
Evidence has been found in prehistoric and historic populations across different regions, including Neolithic communities. So, ancient humans weren't living in a disease-free wilderness. They were surrounded by pathogens. They got infections. They suffered dental disease. They experienced chronic illness. And sometimes the illness was devastating. But here's where things get interesting, because the evidence suggests they weren't completely helpless. Your body was the first medicine. Long before anyone understood bacteria or viruses, humans had one enormous advantage. They could observe. They noticed that some wounds healed. Some plants made people feel better. Some foods caused problems. Some plants could be eaten. Others made people violently sick. Reflective. And that knowledge could accumulate over generations. You didn't need to understand chemistry to learn that a particular plant seemed to help with a particular problem. You only needed to notice the pattern. And prehistoric people appear to have had surprisingly detailed knowledge of their environments. Measured, scientific. Researchers studying ancient dental calculus have found evidence of prehistoric people consuming and processing different plants, including plants with possible medicinal properties. But the evidence doesn't always tell us exactly why a plant was consumed, so we have to be careful about calling every ancient plant a medicine. One of the most fascinating cases comes from a Neanderthal living around 48,000 years ago. Scientists analyzed ancient DNA preserved in dental plaque, and they found something unexpected. This individual had evidence of a dental abscess and a gastrointestinal pathogen, but the dental plaque also contained evidence suggesting the individual had consumed plants such as poplar and natural sources containing compounds related to salicylic acid. In other words, there is evidence consistent with self-medication. Not modern medicine, not a pharmacy, but possibly an attempt to use the natural environment to deal with illness. And that changes the picture. Our ancestors weren't necessarily wandering around completely unaware of what plants could do. They were experimenting, observing, remembering, passing information on.
But sometimes there was no medicine. Now imagine something much worse. You don't have an infection that might eventually disappear. You have a serious injury. You can't walk. You can't hunt. You can't defend yourself. And your injury doesn't heal quickly. This is where the fossil record gives us one of the clearest clues that ancient humans cared for one another. Meet Shanidar 1. He was a Neanderthal who lived roughly 45,000 to 35,000 years ago. Scientists found evidence of a severe blow to his head. It may have damaged his left eye. His right arm was badly affected. His right leg was also impaired. He had a healed fracture in his foot. And despite all of this, he survived into what was probably old age for a Neanderthal. The Smithsonian notes that his injuries all show signs of healing and that he probably could not have survived without the care of his social group. Think about the implications. Someone with a damaged arm, a serious limp, possible blindness in one eye, multiple injuries. And yet, he lived for years. That means somebody probably adjusted their behavior around him. Maybe they helped him obtain food. Maybe they protected him. Maybe they allowed him to contribute in different ways. We cannot reconstruct the exact care he received, but his survival tells us something powerful. Human groups didn't necessarily abandon people when they became vulnerable. They adapted around them.
And then things get even stranger. Because prehistoric humans may have gone beyond simply caring for injuries. In 2022, researchers reported an extraordinary discovery from Borneo. A person who lived around 31,000 years ago underwent what appears to be a deliberate surgical amputation of the lower part of a leg, and the person survived. The bone shows evidence of healing. That means someone didn't simply remove the limb after death. The operation happened while the patient was alive. 31,000 years ago, before modern hospitals, before antibiotics, before modern surgical instruments, someone performed an operation and someone survived it. We don't know exactly what tools were used. We don't know what substances were used for pain or infection. We don't know exactly how the procedure was organized, but the evidence tells us something we can say with confidence. Prehistoric humans were capable of surprisingly sophisticated medical intervention.
But what about a simple fever? This is where the story becomes much harder. For a broken bone, archaeologists might eventually find evidence of healing. For an amputation, the skeleton can preserve the surgical signature. But what about a fever, a stomach infection, a respiratory illness, something that killed you in 3 days? There may be nothing left behind. And that means we have to resist one tempting mistake. Firm, we cannot look at an ancient plant and simply say that was their antibiotic. We cannot find a skull and assume every illness had a treatment. And we definitely can't pretend prehistoric people had modern medical knowledge. They didn't. They couldn't see bacteria. They didn't understand viruses. They didn't know what caused most infections. Sometimes, the only thing they could do was wait. Keep the person warm, give them water, offer food if they could eat, protect them from further danger, and hope their body won the fight. Softly, which brings us back to something even more important than medicine. The most important medicine may have been other people. Imagine being sick in a modern city. You can lie in bed, someone can bring you water, you can order food, call a doctor, buy medicine, check your temperature, call an ambulance. Now remove all of that. You're sick in a prehistoric landscape, and survival depends on people. Someone has to notice you're getting worse. Someone has to bring you water. Someone may have to share food with you. Someone has to protect you while you're weak. Someone may need to slow the group down, and someone may need to remember what happened the last time another person had the same symptoms. This is where human intelligence becomes social intelligence. A group doesn't survive only because its strongest member can hunt. It survives because knowledge can move from one person to another. The elderly can remember, the injured can still teach, the sick can sometimes recover, and children can eventually become adults because other people protect them while they're helpless. Soft emotional emphasis. That may be one of the strangest things about our species. We survive partly by keeping alive people who cannot survive alone.
It may have changed human evolution. Think about what this creates. A population where everyone is completely independent has one advantage, but a population where individuals cooperate can do something different. A person with an injury can survive. An older person can continue contributing knowledge. A sick person can recover. A child can be protected for years before becoming independent. And suddenly, knowledge doesn't disappear every time the person who possesses it becomes weak. It stays inside the group. The evidence from Dmanisi and Shanidar doesn't prove exactly how prehistoric caregiving worked, but it strongly supports the broader idea that social care has deep roots in human evolution. And that's where this story stops being about medicine. It becomes a story about why humans became human. So what did ancient humans do when they got sick? Sometimes they probably used what they knew about their environment. Sometimes they may have used plants or other natural materials. Sometimes they cleaned, protected, or treated injuries. Sometimes someone with a serious disability survived because other people helped them. And sometimes they simply got sick and died. There was no miracle cure, no guaranteed treatment, no modern medicine waiting around the corner. But there was something else: observation, memory, experimentation, and perhaps most importantly, other people. Because when one ancient human became too weak to hunt, someone else may have brought food. When someone couldn't walk, someone else may have helped them move. When someone was injured, someone else may have stayed. And thousands of generations later, that basic behavior still exists. When you are sick today, you don't think about evolution. You just want someone to bring you water, someone to check on you, someone to stay nearby. And maybe that's the strangest part. The technology changed, the diseases changed, the medicine changed, but the basic human response may be incredibly old. When one of us becomes vulnerable, the others don't always walk away. And that may have been one of the most important survival strategies our ancestors ever developed. Because humans didn't survive simply by becoming stronger. We survived by becoming better at taking care of each other. And perhaps that's why, after millions of years, sickness still reminds us of something our ancestors already knew. Sometimes survival is not an individual achievement. Sometimes you survive because somebody stayed. If this story made you see our ancestors differently, don't just scroll away. Subscribe to Thought Patterns for more stories that uncover the hidden ideas, discoveries, and behaviors that shaped humanity. And tell me in the comments, if you lived 50,000 years ago, what would you fear more? Disease, injury, or being alone? Because sometimes the most important thing keeping us alive isn't medicine, it's each other.